Have a blessing. Thank you so much, Rabbi Johanna. Thank you so much, Joe. I'd like to invite District Attorney Hummel up to speak about the legal legacy of Justice Ginsburg, what her memory and her legacy means to the legal community, to all of us.
Rabbi, thank you. I'm intimidated to be here tonight. I give literally hundreds of speeches.
Right into it.
I give literally hundreds of speeches a year. This is the first one I've been intimidated to give. It's a holy day, of course, and I'm following the rabbi, and that's always a little intimidating. And but I'm speaking about my hero, which I've not done before. So I'll be reading a bit because I want to do her justice. And we know she always did her homework, so I did my homework. In 1956, Justice Ginsburg enrolled at Harvard Law School. She was one of only 9 women in a class of 500 men. Her husband was also a student in the law school, and while they were there, he was diagnosed with testicular cancer. Justice Ginsburg was the reason he was able to graduate. While attending her own classes, writing her own papers, and doing her own class reading, she attended classes for her husband, taking notes for him. She typed his dictated papers, and she cared for their infant daughter. All the while, she was at the top of her class. Justice Ginsburg eventually transferred to Columbia Law School because her husband, who graduated before her, accepted a job offer in New York. While at Columbia, she learned Swedish so she could co-author a book on Swedish civil procedure. How about that? Now you would think that an Ivy League law school graduate at the top of her class, she would have no problem finding a job upon graduation. Her husband had no problem finding a job, but she struggled. She received many rejections. She eventually accepted a job teaching at Rutgers Law School. And shortly thereafter, she learned that she was getting paid less than her male colleagues because her husband had a well-paying job. That was the rationale. In 1972, Justice Ginsburg co-founded the Women's Rights Project at the American Civil Liberties Union. The Women's Rights Project participated in more than 300 gender discrimination lawsuits in 2 years. Justice Ginsburg herself argued 6 discrimination cases before the Supreme Court. She won 5 of them. The final case she argued as an attorney in front of the Supreme Court was the 1978 case of Duren versus Missouri. That challenged the validity of a law in Missouri that said jury duty for women was voluntary. And Justice Ginsburg said, no, a citizen's vital government service should not be voluntary. We shouldn't treat women separately from men. She won that case, and at the end of her oral argument, Justice Rehnquist asked Justice Ginsburg, you won't settle for putting Susan B. Anthony on the new dollar then? She was quoted in reports, she didn't say this at the hearing, but she was quoted later, she wished she had said, no, Mr. Justice, we won't settle for tokens. But instead, she opted not to answer the question. Legal scholars and advocates credit Ginsburg's work as a litigator with making significant legal advances for women under the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution. Taken together, Ginsburg's legal victories discouraged legislatures from treating women differently than men. Her future colleague on the Supreme Court, Justice Scalia, he praised Justice Ginsburg as an advocate. And here's what he said about her work as an attorney in the court before she was a judge. She became the leading litigator on behalf of women's rights, the Thurgood Marshall of that cause, so to speak. Ginsburg was nominated by President Jimmy Carter in 1980 to a seat on the United States Court of Appeals, and in 1993, President Clinton appointed her to the Supreme Court. During her 27 years on the Supreme Court, she had as much of an impact on equality as she did as a litigator. I'm going to tell you a few opinions. You won't get too deep into the woods. I could talk all night about this, but I think it's important to touch on a few. She offered the court's opinion in United States versus Virginia. That struck down the Virginia military institution's male-only admissions policy. She dissented in the court's decision in Ledbetter versus Goodyear. She was a master dissenter, and a true sign of a good judge is when your dissents become law. And let me tell you about this case. Most of you know it. Lily Ledbetter filed a lawsuit against her employer claiming pay discrimination based on her gender. And as a matter of fact, she was paid less than her male colleagues. But in a 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court rejected her claim. They said, sorry, you filed your claim too late. Ginsburg, writing in dissent, said that result was absurd because women often don't know they are paid less than men. They find out way down the line. And then if you block them from filing a lawsuit because they filed too late, you're going to perpetuate that discrimination. Well, she wrote that dissent. She wrote a strongly worded dissent, and she encouraged Congress to change the law. Well, following the election of President Obama, the first act passed by that Congress was the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, making it easier for employees to win pay discrimination claims. And the genesis for that was Justice Ginsburg's dissent. We all know Justice Ginsburg was a staunch supporter of a woman's right to have autonomy over her body. In a 2009 interview in which she discussed her views on abortion, she said, "The basic thing is that the government has no business making this choice for a woman." It wasn't that much more complicated for the justice. She could get real complicated in the weeds, but on that issue, it wasn't very complicated for her, and it's not a very complicated issue. Now, after Justices Sonia Sotomayor and Elena Kagan were appointed to the Supreme Court, I missed this quote when it happened. This is great. Justice Ginsburg was asked, how grateful she was. Oh, it must be great. You have, some female colleagues. She says, actually, I want there to be 6 or 7. Right? I love it. Justice Ginsburg's legacy is the tremendous strides that women have made toward equality since she was a little girl growing up in Brooklyn. We live in a different world now where everything isn't perfect, but where women have many more opportunities now than they did when she was a child. Her legacy is her granddaughters. Her legacy is all the people who dress up like her on Halloween. Her legacy is that she became a feminist icon because she cared so much about opening doors for people. Some might say, bravo, Justice Ginsburg. Thank you for your service. We now have equality among the sexes. We're all good. No need to worry about the future. Well, not everyone feels that way, and not everyone should. Yesterday morning, when the news was making it out about the terrible passing, I received a private Facebook message from a prominent business owner in our community. She's someone I've always admired and is a longtime pillar of our community. I rarely talk with this woman, but I've always respected her from afar. I didn't even know we were friends on Facebook, but I have too many friends on Facebook. But she sent me a message, and I'm glad we were friends because she was able to share this with me. Here's what she wrote. I somehow bought by myself my first house at 23 in Eugene. My husband had been a Vietnam vet, so I was able to use the Oregon Vet Loan Program. When I called to start my phone service, the phone company said I needed a man to sign a payment guarantee. I refused. I had an excellent job for the time and owned my own home and my own car. My brother-in-law was an attorney and had to threaten a lawsuit before they finally agreed to start my phone service, but they put a credit limit on my account. This was in 1972. I could tell you a lot more similar stories of my life. Justice Ginsburg, along with a lot of other women heroes, are the reason women have the rights they do, but it can all be replaced so quickly. That was the message I received. And I tell you what, that hit home as a white, privileged man. This woman who I admire the heck out of her. She's scared. She says the fight's not over. It can be taken from her.
That's right.
Justice Ginsburg died on the eve of Rosh Hashanah, as you all know. Now, my understanding of the Jewish theology, and this is where I'm a little nervous here. This is the internets tell me this, I'm sorry. But my understanding of Jewish theology is that one of the themes of Rosh Hashanah is that extremely righteous people will die at the very end of the year because they are needed until the end. We need them. Justice Ginsburg, we needed you for as long as you were with us. It's up to us now. Thank you.
We close now with some words from Justice Ginsburg herself. I'm going to invite my colleagues to come and read along.
E pluribus unum, we the people, of many, one. The challenge is to make or keep our community places where we can understand, accommodate, even celebrate our differences, while pulling together for the common good.
In the open society that is the American ideal, no doors should be closed to people willing to spend the hours of effort needed to make dreams come true. So hold fast to your dreams and work hard to make them a reality.
And as you pursue your paths in life, leave tracks. Just as others have been way pavers for you, so should you aid those who will follow in your way.
Do your part to help move society to the place you would like it to be for the health and well-being of generations following your own.
She concludes, of many, one. This is my hope for our country, for our world. Go in peace, community, to love and serve. Justice Ginsburg's legacy lives in you tonight. May it be so.
And so we're asked to hold this tension of what is ours to do, what are we called to do, each and every one of us in our own unique way. And at the same time, we also just recognize that it is a lot right now. There is a lot to hold. And so we return to that song again that reminds us to just loosen the grip just a little bit, to allow yourself enough space that you can be and live and become who it is that you are in this world, so that you might step up to your call in the same way that RGB stepped into hers. Loosen, baby, you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, and baby, you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Let go. Let go, let go, let go. Let go, let go, let go.
You got it. Thanks for being here.
Am I still in the picture? Like, I don't want to be in the picture. Dogs don't have to distance. I know, never with me. Sophia, we come back up on Wednesday. Okay, cool. Oh, this Wednesday, yeah. Okay. Sorry for the smoke, it just delayed everything.
I'm still standing here, waiting for my honey. Hope she will come for having much fun. But she's not here, so I drink another beer to show it all away. Oh yeah, we are after beer. I'm still standing here, hope that the one that my Mary will come. come, but she's not here. So I drink another beer to throw it all away. Oh yeah. Oh hey, what's that? It's Mary on my wish. See how she miss. Wanna give her a kiss, but she's not here. So I drink another beer to throw it all away. And on the harbor, yeah. But she's not here, so I drink another beer to throw it all away. Oh yeah. But she's not here, really, so I drink another beer to throw it all away. Oh yeah. To throw it all. Show me your way, oh yeah. Show me